Hello, and a very warm welcome from QNsoft as we are about to show you our eCTD solution that is tailored to meet your needs. My name is Jim Nichols, and I'll be talking to you about eCTD and then showing you how you can quickly and easily compile an eCTD submission using the solution. But before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about our regulatory operations platform. eCTD is one of the modules within this platform, which is really tailored to meet your needs. In this platform, we have core capabilities that do things such as manage tasks, email notifications, and support electronic signature. Qn Portal allows external content sharing with your partners and other organizations with whom you're working. Qn IDMP helps to manage XEVMPD, IDMP, and other data standards in a detailed fashion. Qn RDMS is our regulatory document management system that is seamlessly integrated in with Qn eCTD. Qn eCTD will be the focus of today's demonstration, and we will go into that in a little bit more detail. I'd like to also mention that Qn RIM is a solution that is for regulatory information management, and that module helps to track all of your regulatory activities, events, and plans. Qn SOP is our solution for managing SOPs and training records for your employees. So let's first talk more about Qn eCTD. In Qn eCTD, you can rely upon our basic features that will always allow you to create your eCTD submissions, manage the lifecycle, import submissions that you have from perhaps in the past, and it's always compliant with the latest ICH guidelines. There's a number of time savers built into Qn eCTD, such as automatic eCTD tree creation. You don't have to know which folders to create, we create them for you. You can also have the system automatically check for new versions of documents for your eCTD life cycles going forward, and there's a built-in eCTD compliance checker along with our integrated document management system. From a global perspective, you can manage your eCTDs anywhere in the world for every health authority in the world. Multiple users can work in parallel. You can view your submissions in a number of different ways and share your submissions via Qn Portal. It's also easy to reuse your eCTDs across your organization and across regions. And as I mentioned earlier, QNsoft difference includes Vera, our online eCTD guide, along with auto-compilation capabilities, built-in PDF and OCR rendition engines. Vera, as I mentioned, is our virtual electronic regulatory assistant. Vera can help guide first-time users through each step of the software or help experienced users remember how to do something that maybe they haven't done in a while. It steps them through and guides them to each step and helps you learn by doing. So let's log in and see what this looks like. As you can see, you're presented with your user dashboard, which you can personalize and decide which of these widgets you would like to have displayed with the information that's important to you. All of the modules I mentioned earlier are listed down here on the left-hand side, and this is how you access those particular functional areas. Vera, as I mentioned before, is always ready to help, and you can click on Vera anytime you need help getting started with something, and we'll do that now, and I'll show you how Vera will step me through creating a new product in Qn RDMS. You can see that Vera is taking me exactly to the place I need to go. This is not a simulation. And now Vera is telling me how I go about creating a product. And in this window, it tells me exactly what I need to do so that I can create the product. Now I'm going to step out of this because I've already created a product for this. And so I've told Vera to let me out. And I'll cancel what I was doing here. And I'll show you that I have a product already created. And what's important to understand here is that in your product, you actually set a number of attributes or metadata about that product that will help drive your submission tree when it's created when we get into Qn eCTD. But I did like to point out here is that in Qn RDMS, you have all the abilities of a Part 11 compliant document management solution that allows you to author, review, approve documents. You can upload existing documents, and handle documents that perhaps are originally PDF where you need to OCR them or split those documents or merge those documents, and that can all be done within QNRDMS. We'll be using the new demo product today, and I've already loaded a few documents in here. I've organized them for my personal preference by module, and we'll go into the submission management, which is where we will actually get into creating the eCTD. I'll click on My Submissions, and this will take me to my work area that shows all of my submissions that are being worked on right now. And you can see I have a few already started, but I'll create a new one. So for this, I will say this is new demo submission, NDA. It is using that product we just looked at called new demo. And we'll start with the United States. I also have a target date here that I can use to help me keep track of when this submission is expected to be completed, and then I can actually keep track of that. So we'll create the submission now. And what's happening is it's taking that product information and it has created my new submission right here. And I can click on this and you'll see that all of the folders have been automatically created for me based on that metadata. So if I close some of these folders here, which I have a number of tools that can help, but if you remember, we have a product that it's for injection, and this was automatically created. And here's the substance and the substance manufacturer. These folders have been automatically created for me. My documents that I showed you a moment ago are in the RDMS, and you can see that they're all here ready for me to use in the submission. But for a few of them, I've actually put the metadata on them that would help me do auto-compilation. So to do that, what I'll do is I will click on AutoCompile, and what it's doing now is Vera is looking through those documents and looking at the submission tree and matching up the documents that need to go into certain folders based on that metadata. And now you can see here, if I close all my empty folders, I have the 356H form was automatically assigned for me. My draft labeling was automatically compiled for me. My 32P1 document was also automatically assigned for me. Now, if I don't use AutoCompile, I can still use drag and drop to move documents from the RDMS right into the submission tree. So you can see here I still have a cover letter to assign. So I just simply click on it and drop it in the folder. And I'll do that for the rest of these documents. Next, we'll move on to Module 2. And I have a 2,3-S drug substance document to put here. And I have a 263 document to put right here. In Module 3, I have some stability data. So I will put that in 32S7, 3, right here. And then I will go to Module 4, where I have some other data here for 4232 in my studies. So what I'll do is put this right in this study folder, and you can see because I had that study associated with my product that the study folder was automatically created for me. And then for this, I will also put this document here in this study. And I can also shift click and drag multiple documents at the same time into a folder. So now we'll go on to Module 5, and I have some documents in 5351 and 5352. And so in 5351, I have my case report form, and here I'm control clicking and bringing these over, drop them in the folder, and then my data sets I can bring into my data sets folder. And what's also important to understand is that with the correct metadata in place, I'm actually going to have my study tagging file created for me automatically as well. So there we go. I've put everything in that I have for those documents. And all I need to do next is save my work. And I think as this is saving, it's important to understand that what you're able to do here is save this submission in its current state, do a test publish of it, and then make any changes and then do another publish. But before we do that, I'm going to take some of these documents and I'm going to actually add some hyperlinks, because that's also built in. So for the sake of this demo, I will just right click on this document and say edit hyperlinks. You'll see it's opened this in a new tab. Here's the document, and I'll just pick some text that I want to turn into a hyperlink. And you can tell that I don't need any added tools on my desktop to do this. So I just select some text, select my target, which I'll say it's going to go to another document here, and create hyperlink. And then in a moment, you'll see that the document has now had a new hyperlink added to it. We get down here and look at it again. There it is. That's what I just added. I can also edit these hyperlinks and remove hyperlinks if they're incorrect. We'll close that tab. And then the next thing I'd want to do is check the compliance of my submission. So if we assume that I've put in my hyperlinks and it's ready to be published, first thing I want to do is check that I don't have any hyperlinks in the document that shouldn't be there. And this would be if there was a hyperlink to an external site, which we know would fail the compliance check at the receiving agency. But you can see here, these are all valid hyperlinks. Everything is good to go. And if I did have a correction, I could click on this little pencil. It would open up that document again, and I could reset that hyperlink. The next thing I would do is check the compliance. And this is where it's going to run through all of the documents and tell me if there's any problems with the documents. Now here you're seeing messages saying that fast web view enabled is not enabled, or the bookmark has no inherent zoom set. Now, if any of these issues were things I needed to resolve manually, I would have that pencil icon again. But you can see here that the resolution is indicated as automatic, which means that we will automatically fix this during the publishing process. So everything here looks good. And I'll go into a test publish, which is my incremental publishing capabilities. So when I go into the test published, what it will do is it will create the eCTD without using up the sequence number. It will stamp draft against all of the PDFs that it's creating. But I can also then run this through the eCTD validator from the FDA. So I'll fill in this information and I'll click publish. And you can see now we're back to our My Submission screen. Now I can actually watch the progress of publishing if I just click on this link again, and you'll see that it's in the process of starting the publishing job. And this will take maybe a minute or less in some cases, depending on the number of documents in your submission. And you can always click on refresh and you'll see what's happening in the publishing job. And it's already kind of moving along. Other things to keep in mind here is that you have a number of tools within CUNY eCTD that also allow you to view your submission either multiple sequences end to end, or in a cumulative view, or in a delta view, which allows you to compare between two submissions what has changed. Now that you can see these messages are gone, that means that my submission has finished publishing. So now it will be listed in my test submissions area. What this will allow me to do is I can actually click on this link and it will download the submission in a zip file. And we will say keep that. And if I wanted to look at that, you can actually see everything has been created. And if I wanted to extract all of this, I could do that. And it will open it up in a new window. And if I simply click on that, you'll see that we have our submission. It's using the style sheet appropriately. And there's all of the information that we just put into that submission. Now we'll close this up. And we'll go back to my submissions and we'll decide that that has now met our needs for the submission. And we'll do a productive submission. It's the same steps that we just went through. We open the submission, except this time we take productive publish as our option. You can see that there was also an option there for dossier or paper output, which we support. It has remembered all of my test publishing envelope information, so I don't have to enter that again. And I'll click publish. And now this time what's happening is that it is doing a productive publish. And the difference between a test publish and a productive publish is simply the fact that it's not stamping a draft watermark on any of the PDF files this time, and it's actually going to allocate the sequence number. And since this was a US submission, we know we start with sequence 0001, and that will be now locked for that submission. And when this finishes, which should happen any moment, we will see that 0001 has been used, and you'll see it in the productive or final submissions folder. We go here to publish submissions. And not only do you see the submission that we just created, which is right here, but if I go back now to submission management in my submissions, you'll see that there has been automatically created for us a new sequence 0002. And this has allowed me to be ready for the next submission sequence. If I open that, you'll see that I get the same tree view, and it will even show me the documents from previous sequences listed with this little gray arrow icon. Now, one of the things I'd like to show you is how we can actually automatically detect new versions of these documents. So let's, for the sake of this demo, we'll go into the RDMS, and we'll find a document, and we will version it up using the RDMS capabilities. I will pick a document here in Module 2, and we'll use the 263 pharmacology tabulated summary. So in order for me to do that, and I'm kind of simulating a revision cycle, I reset it to draft. You see now it went to version 1.1, and the status is draft. When I'm doing a submission, I can only use published documents. So let's pretend I've updated that document and I'm ready to publish it. And it will automatically render to a new PDF, and you'll see momentarily that it is now version 2.0. That's important to remember. So if we go back to my submissions and open up that submission sequence 2, you'll notice again that the 263 that we have was originally, we had used version 1.0. Now, if I use my tree tools and I say update document versions, what Vera is now doing is looking for new versions of documents I've used before and replacing them. And now if we go back to 263, you can see now the icon has changed. This icon means that it is a replace operation from a lifecycle perspective. And you can see that it's version 2.0. This is another Vera speed enabler here that allows you to quickly find documents that have been versioned up and need to be replaced in a subsequent submission sequence. As I mentioned, there's also the ability to view your submissions in different ways. A delta view allows you to compare two sequence numbers and see what's changed between them. The sequence view shows you each sequence end to end. Cumulative view would show you obviously everything across all sequences into a single tree view. And the hide/unhide folders allows you to perhaps hide folders that you won't be using in this particular type of submission. But we'll go back here and we'll save this so we can again see that we have created our sequence 2. And I'll go back to my submissions and now show you how I can take this as a starting point and create and reuse all of this work for another region. So if I take copy submission and I'll say this is for Canada, new demo, same product. Now I'm going to say Canada, and we'll set a different due date for this. We'll call that the end of August, and we'll create that submission. What this allows you to do is take that cumulative history of submission work you've done for one region and repurpose it for a new region. So here you can see we have our draft Canadian eCTD submission. It starts at sequence 0000. And if I open that up, you will see all of the documents that were used in other submissions, obviously not in Module 1, but here we have the 23S version 1 and the 263 version 2 document automatically assigned for me. And all I do now is save this. And I'm ready to now reuse modules 2 through 5 in this submission for Canada. And these will all be in the lifecycle as new documents. I hope this has shown you how fast and easy it is to use eCTD in creating an eCTD submission. In this demonstration, I've done incremental publishing. I have used our AutoCompile capability. I have used our Vera capabilities to find new versions of documents and to copy one submission to another for a different region. All regions are available from QSoft in terms of submission types. You can create eCTD, CTD, NeeS, and even your own custom submission configurations. Because we're delivered in a private SaaS environment, all you need is the internet and a web browser. No add-on technology or software applications on your computer, and you can use it from any computer in the world. And you can use it in an unlimited fashion. There's no limit to the number of times you can test publish or even productively publish a final submission. And as I said earlier, we are built and ready for eCTD 4, and also comes with our 100% guarantee that your first eCTD submission will be compliant with the specifications. Finally, eCTD is part of a larger platform that is easily tailored to meet your needs. So if you want to add RIM capabilities or IDMP management capabilities, it all is just a flip of a switch and it's there for you. I hope you found this useful, and please feel free to contact us at info@qsoft.com.